And some people are going straight to the Everclear version of cannabis before they even had a wine cooler. It's like, wait a minute, like 10 milligrams for somebody who has never done cannabis is it might as well be 100 because they're going to feel absolutely horrible if they're really sensitive to THC. So that's really dope that something like this exists, because I feel like, unfortunately, until we can get medical professionals to actually give advice on this, you're gonna have young people at dispensaries that are just there so they can have a job. Not everyone is passionate about being here, and this is where we're like a big issue in the cannabis industry.
What's up, y'all? This is another amazing episode of the Lasagna Ganja podcast. I am Mr. X to the Z Exhibit.
And I'm your girl, Tammy, a.k.a. the Cannabis Cutie.
Yes, and we are rocking and rolling. Today's going to be a very you episode. When I say you, this is going to be about science. This is going to be about, 4 or 5 syllable words. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be about...
Okay, so this is more of a Tammy discussion today.
Yeah. You guys are going to geek out. This is going to be amazing. I'm glad you guys are listening, tuning in. Today we have somebody very special. We have Len May, CEO of EndoCannabis, EndoCanna Health.
EndoCanna Health. Yes.
EndoCanna Health. And basically what the product is... which is amazing to see how health and science are now being applied to what we do in cannabis, right? So what this test does, it's like basically like Ancestry.com for cannabis, right? You do a swab, you send it in, you get your results, and the results that you get back are very interesting. We're going to talk to him all about it up next on the Lasagna Ganja podcast. Okay, so health is wealth, right? You heard that so many times throughout life. And, for example, I went to, I've been on this health journey. I told you we started that in the first top of the other programs. And, I went to the doctor, got all these tests done. And, I am on this journey for real. I'm taking it serious. I went to a chiropractor today. Okay. Right. I went to Dr. Alex. He's the infamous Instagram. He be cracking everybody. You know what I'm saying? So me and my lady went in today and found out I got some issues with my posture. Got some, I had my disc number 5 and 6 in my neck is showing signs of arthritis. I'm going to blame it on my chains, my gold chains. But really it's just, shit I need to work on. Right. So I got to popping and cracking. He cracked my neck and my back and, and pull my legs out from under me. And it was an amazing experience. I definitely know I got to work on my posture. So, that, and you know what else?
What?
I am preaching from the Church of Dr. Scholl's. All right. Orthopedics did a whole other. I was like, wow. Because I wear flat shoes all the time, and I got flat feet, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Well, maybe. I don't know. The jury's still out. Okay.
So you're in orthopedics now.
Right, dude. I mean, look, man, I don't want to sound old and shit, but man, I've been wearing like Air Force Ones for since I was born. Okay. Right. And Chucks.
That's what you have on currently, right?
Currently,
yes. Air Force Ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I just banged. I just banged out my little Dr. Scholl's, and my lower back was that. So I'm trying to get mobile, moving around, and that's going to be the next thing. Okay. Right. So I wanted to make sure my engine wasn't going to blow up if I started. You know what I'm saying? Right.
So how do you feel? Do you feel relief from all the cracking? And
I do. Okay. I do. And I feel like it is something that I have to keep up. Okay. Right. It's not just a one-time thing and you're fixed. It's like you gotta. I'm finding new things to do with my time.
Yeah. All
right.
And
you know what I'm saying? And investing back into me is like a big deal.
Let's go. All right. Yeah, self-care, self-love.
It's the most important investment you can make.
Yeah. And we've been shout out to Dr. Alex. My girl been beating me in the head with these Mel Robbins podcasts. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a little more positivity than I'm used to.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, it's a good thing.
I'm here for it.
So that brings us back to what we're talking about today,
Yes,
health.
Health as well.
And finding out what the plant can do for you, supposed to do for you, and some of the things that we didn't know probably we are genetically, you know,
disposed
to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about your own personal health journey.
Right.
So wouldn't it be nice to know everything there is to know about yourself and then create a personalized protocol that's just for you? Because we're all different. Like we go to the doctor and they tell us, take 2 of these. Why do I have to take 2? Why don't I have to take 4 and you take 1? Because we metabolize differently.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. The goal is really to personalize your medical journey, your health journey. Mm-hmm. And looking at your endocannabinoid system is only one part of it. That's what we do.
We're talking to Len May, CEO of EndoDNA Health. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man.
And man, you know, here we call ourselves the Lasagna Ganja podcast because we go through all the layers of what cannabis and culture is, right? And so this is one layer that I don't think people really get into a lot. We talk about the medicinal purposes of cannabis, but this has to deal with directly on what we've talked about before, the cannabinoid system.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there.
I'm throwing it around. Yo, but this is directly connected to that. But before we get into that, let's just talk about your journey with cannabis. Like, what has been your experience? How did you? What was your entry into cannabis, and why are you so passionate about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, stories like I was the kind of kid that would sit in class and like all these thoughts would pop in my head, and a teacher would call me and be like, "What?" So I was in my head a lot, and I got diagnosed with ADD. And when I was about 13, 14, my parents took me to a doctor and they gave me meds. And I can't say they didn't work. They just made me not feel anything. So I was hanging out with these older kids, and like before school started, they said, "You want to smoke a cigarette?" It's like, cool, all right, cigarettes. Let's hang out with the older kids. It'll be cool to smoke a cigarette. I never questioned why they only had one cigarette at the time. They had one cigarette. So they're passing around, got to me, and I took a drag and I inhaled, and it kind of tasted different than regular cigarettes. I inhaled them again, and they were laughing at me. What? And they filled the cigarette up with weed. So I'm like, okay. I went back to class, and the windows in my head narrowed, and I could focus. So I'm like, all right, you know, this is weird. So I tried it again, and I gave up all the meds, and that became my go-to medicine. And my parents kept catching me, and eventually ended up kicking me out. But not only kicking me out, calling the cops on me. So I call, but the irony of it, they both take like products that we make. They did our DNA tests, all that stuff now. So now they're fans. But back then, they kicked me. They called the cops on me and kicked me out. So I became the president of the Cannabis Action Network. So I fought for legalization. I was a lobbyist. I held a rally at Independence Hall. I'm from Philly originally. So I held a rally at Independence Hall in Philly. My keynote speaker was this woman named Elvie Masika. So Elvie was one of the first people under the NIDA program to get federally prescribed cannabis. Isn't it crazy that we have the Schedule I substance, no medicinal purposes, but then the federal government actually has a program that they gave cannabis to? So she was my keynote. She lit up those federal USDA joint in front of federal rangers.
Yes.
And
because she could. Wow. You worked with her at the
1993.
Wow.
That was my first rally.
I have read about her and spoken about her in my cannabis book club quite extensively for the work that she's done. That's amazing.
A crazy story with her. So after the rally, we get home, my place, everybody crashes my place, and we got woken up to a loud noise. And I was dating this girl. She made me a sculpture. She's an artist. And Elvie happened to walk in and broke the sculpture. And she felt so bad. But she has degenerative glaucoma. She can't see. She's blind. And that's the second time I ever saw somebody medicate. And then she could see. Still wore her like big, thick glasses. But I was like, wait, cannabis works for me for my ADD, but also works for her for glaucoma. And I started getting really, really into that. And then my ex-wife was like, you have to get a real job. So I went to corporate, did like, I worked for Price Waterhouse, et cetera. And when I moved to LA, I was in real estate. I met these guys and they wanted to open up an alternative pharmacy. Like, what's an alternative pharmacy? It's a dispensary. It was back in 2009, 2010. So we opened our first shop was in Santa Ana called Kush Kingdom. And then we ended up opening 4 more under the same brand. We're the exclusive home of Corrupt's Kush and Method Man's Blackout OG.
Yeah.
So that was, but the thing that really I was passionate about was the therapeutic properties of the plant. So I would notice two people will go in, they would consume the same chemical variety and have a complete different experience. It's like, why are we consuming the same product but having a different experience? So I really started getting into plant genomics. And I started working with this guy named Kevin McKernan, who was the chief science officer of a company called Medicinal Genomics. And he's the first person to genetically sequence cannabis. And from there, their parent company was a company that was called Cortigen Life Sciences, and they were what's called pharmacogenomics. So pharmacogenomics is a study of how drugs affect an individual's body and how drugs interact with each other. So I started getting the human genetics, and then one day I was like, we have plant genetics here, we have human genetics here, let's bring those two together, and hence started my company EndoCannabis Health in 2017.
Wow. So EndoCannabis Health is where you can take a swab test, you send in, and then what are the results that you get back, and specifically break down what you're actually looking for. Because, you know, when you do the ancestry, you're looking for places that your, you know, ancestors may have come from or been like. So what is the purpose, and what are the results reading back from taking one of these tests?
Well, I'll start with our patent. So the patent that we received is the use of DNA to make recommendations associated with the endocannabinoid system presented through a graphical user interface. And we just got approved machine learning AI. So now we can use AI to start guiding people to those specific inferences. But what we do is we look at every single genetic biomarker that is directly or indirectly associated with the endocannabinoid system. And you were just talking about the endocannabinoid system, which is the primary modulating system in our body. If our endocannabinoid system is in balance, then it helps to regulate all the other systems. So what we do is you look at all those genetic biomarkers, we show you what you're predisposed to, like think of it as a bunch of on-off switches. And this would be your ways of your life. This is your GPS. And so we're in LA, I said I'm from Philly, I can get in my car and drive from here to Philly without a GPS. Now, I'll make some wrong turns, I'll hit some potholes, I'll hit some traffic jams, but with my GPS, I will avoid those things. So this is your GPS of life. When you know your genetic predispositions, you will know what to avoid and what to consume more of. So if you have a predisposition to, you know, some sort of stress reactivity, so anxiety, and you're consuming cannabis that's high in THC with different terpenes like limonene and pinene that are more associated with like what sativa dominant hybrids are, you may trigger that switch to turn on and have an anxiety event. I talk to people all the time and say, I can't really consume cannabis because it makes me stressed. I'm like, well, what kind do you consume?
Oranges. That's what did it.
Yeah, or
every
that's
time.
it. I don't know.
It's the citrus, it's the orange.
Yeah, I've seen some people freak out on cannabis, like, bro.
Yeah, and I promise you, it's like there's a subgroup of people who cannot do citrus strains. I'm one of those people. It's like sometimes it's good, sometimes my heart is racing so fast, and I don't know what's wrong with me, and I'm sweating, and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I'd be interested to see on my profile if it tells me to stay far away from anything that's
I can tell you it already, when we just went over this before.
Yeah.
So that gene called FA. So this is a perfect example. So there's a gene called FA. It stands for fatty acid amide hydrolase. So this gene, it's all complicated, but it's really simple. It's the gene that is associated with stress reactivity. So the people that are prone to this turn that on, and they have a lot more anxiety and stress when your fight or flight turns on. Also, can be triggered with those citrusy kind of chemical varieties. So your limonene, and also your pinene and things that give you that up. Yeah. So, but also without even cannabis being involved, if you have a stressful event, let's say that you're walking down the street, car flies out, almost hits you. So now you have a neurochemical event. So you have some adrenaline, you have some dopamine, you have some norepinephrine, you have some cortisol, all that is pumped in your bloodstream. Now, when your mind realizes, hey, it's cool, it's safe, there's no fight or flight, there's two things that happen. There's a reuptake of those neurochemicals, and your brain secretes new neurochemicals. One of them happens to be anandamide. Anandamide is our endogenous endocannabinoid. So we produce that ourselves.
So
and
endogenous means it's already
Yeah, you
inside.
saw that word.
Yeah, no, I'm listening and I'm following, but for our listeners out there, so endogenous means basically just inside the body. So an inside the body cannabinoid is a cannabinoid that your body naturally produces. Our own version of THC is called anandamide.
Yeah. Thank you. It's exactly it. So we produce THC basically ourselves, and when we consume it from the plant, it binds to a receptor and it squirts out anandamide. Like runner's high, when we run, we get that high. That's anandamide. That's that's coming out.
You don't know about that,
right?
Well,
not
at all. But you will, because you're on your health journey.
I am.
Right?
Yeah, you might get a runner's high.
I'm getting there. I gotta get my knees to agree, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
So
we're in negotiation right now.
So the cortisol that stays in your bloodstream, if it stays longer and you're prone to that, your immune system can overreact to that. And when it overreacts to that, you can have inflammation. So your inflammation starts in your joints, ankles, knees, hips, and all that stuff. What you're going through now possibly is also that cortisol stays in your bloodstream. So you can subsidize what you're naturally deficient in based on consuming, THC or Delta-9. But the trick is getting enough that's personalized to you, not too much, and also the right terpene profile.
Yeah, I think that's my issue. I don't have the paranoid issue, but I mean, I've never had the issue with smoking weed.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how strong it is. Doesn't matter how, what it's the sativa, indica, hybrid. Like I've never had those issues. But maybe, I don't know, maybe doing this test, I'll be able to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm just not even paying attention to it.
I'd love to compare my test with your test and as well as strains, because for me, anything that smells like gasoline, my nose loves. And then some sweets and then other sweets are really off-putting and make me feel sick when I smell them, when I inhale them. So I'm really interested to see if you have any of the stress reactivity that I have.
Oh, I got stressed. But
you react so differently.
Yeah.
My reactions are way off.
How are you with edibles?
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah, I mean, I would eat the Korova 1,000 milligram brownies. I just bust them in 4s and have one with some ice cream. It's like...
No big deal?
No big deal.
Oh, my God.
That's how I am, too. My business partner, if he eats an ear off a gummy, he's out for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
He can't handle it.
Yeah.
I like to stick around 30. Somebody accidentally gave me about 150 to 200 milligrams, and I didn't know. It was one drink. I took it down, and then while I was watching the Super Bowl, I was like, what is happening right now? I asked the dumbest question. I was like, wait, I'm smart. Something's wrong.
I got some 300 milligram gummies right now.
Yeah.
And I love them motherfuckers. I don't know who brought them in here, but I had one that had a great night. Woke up the next morning and had an amazing breakfast for Caesar himself. Breakfast going down.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. That's where all three of us have completely different experiences. And it's a personalized thing. So you ask, what is it? It looks at about 700,000 different genetic biomarkers that are directly or indirectly related to the endocannabinoid system. Looks at metabolic function, so how you metabolize, dosing, which is really important, and also drug-to-drug interaction. If you're on prescription medication, we have a lot of people with contact us that are on SSRIs, so antidepressants. So there's an interaction between cannabinoids and antidepressants. So maybe you don't have to take them at the same time, like speak to your doctor or speak to one of ours. So these are all, we want to make sure that people have safe experience. When we met with the FDA, they said, what is the purpose of your test? And we said to help people either mitigate or avoid an adverse experience. They said, great, we want you to do that. You can't make any claims, of course,
obviously,
and you can't talk about a disease, but we can talk about symptomatic conditions. So if it's not Parkinson's, but maybe it's about tremors that are associated with Parkinson's. And that's really what we want to do. And the next phase is your endocannabinoid system, but it's doing your entire genome and then looking at all your health markers. So what are you predisposed to? What are your personalized supplement and nutrient deficiencies? What are your hormone optimizations? So as you optimize your health, you want to know what's specific to you. And that's sort of the future of that.
What is the difference between doing a swab and a more comprehensive with blood work?
So blood work usually captures a moment in time. So I'll give you an example. When I hate getting my blood taken, yeah, like it's not the needles because I have tattoos, but it's like getting my blood taken. It creates a lot of anxiety. So I did my physical, I got my blood taken, and came back and got my results, and my blood glucose level was high. And the doctor I'm talking to, she's like, maybe stress. I'm like, well, yeah, she goes, if you're really worried about it, you can wear a glucose monitor. So I wore like a blood glucose monitor for a couple of weeks. But the point I'm trying to make is if you don't do that and it captures a moment in time, it'll say your blood sugar level is high, and now they're going to put you on medication because it doesn't give you a over time kind of thing. Right. So what saliva does, and specifically with the DNA test, it gives you genetic predispositions. So it tells you these are the things you may be predisposed to, and here's your action that you can take to make sure you don't turn that switch on. As blood test is a very accurate test, but it captures that moment in time right now in the present.
Understood. All right, so let me look at this.
I have a question. How have you used EndoCanna Health in your results to improve your life?
So in my personal life, I evaluated a lot of things that I already kind of knew about myself. So first of all, I know that I am more prone to depressive states. So as I consume things that are maybe more on the down, make me feel, and if I'm going through that in my life, I can tell that I'm sort of spiraling in that moment. So it helps me to know how to lift myself up. Also, it taught me a lot about how do I look at test results of different products. It's so important to look at test results and see what is the terpene profile, what is the cannabinoid ratio, what is my sweet spot, how do I navigate around that? And then, I know that a lot of things that are going on, they're not genetic for me. So I can make specific changes in my life, so I don't have to worry about like having an anchor of this. It's in my genes. You're more empowered to make those changes.
Okay. And go ahead.
So no, what I was going to say is I'm actually going to do a test on myself today. In studio. It's going to be amazing. We're going to get my EndoCanna results.
Wait, is that the spit or is that the swab?
It's a saliva. It's
saliva. Here we go. No, I'm going to draw my own blood right now.
No,
fuck everybody up.
I didn't know if that was one of the ones where you have to spit for like 6 minutes straight.
I have to do that with like my 23andMe.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody is, so that's one way to get your results is the swab. So you would take the swab out.
Look, so yeah, what I'm doing is I'm unboxing it first. What it says, what's in the box? The first thing is a FDA approved swab, DNA collection device, and unique barcode registration ID. I see it here. Yep. Bio bag for your DNA sample, rigid return mailing box, mailing bag, return mailing bag, and prepaid shipping label. Oh, that's nice. You don't have to come out of pocket for this. That's great. Okay. Instruction card, our security policy, account activation license key, DNA tracking barcode. So that's what I'm looking at now. I have my instructions here. So let me get all this stuff ready. You guys can keep going.
Okay. Well, one of the cool things about that test is I didn't even have to do that test. I just uploaded my raw data from another DNA site. Yeah. So my results were ready pretty quick.
Yeah, you can do like at 23andMe or Ancestry.com or any other DNA test.
Yeah.
You can take the data, upload it, and you'll get your results instantaneously.
Okay, so this is my return box here, right? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but so you would just take the collection device, swab into your cheek.
Okay. Okay, and then get this biohazard bag thing ready here.
And that's it.
Okay. All right. Let me get this here.
Now, can you take the test high?
Oh shit!
Of course.
Oh, I should have.
It's too late for that.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
We can take a quick smoke break and then really see.
Here we go. Okay, so how do I do this?
You would swab a little on one side of the cheek, swab a little on the other side of the cheek, then twist it, untwist it, and then put it back and twist it into the
okay. So
cheek,
left cheek, and right cheek.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Got a little
Put in that purple drink.
Capriati's on there. Okay.
Take it off.
Okay.
Put it back in.
The purple drink.
Yeah, in the purple drizzank.
Shake it up.
Shake it up.
Okay, I'm shaking the tube with the purple drink in it.
Like a Polaroid picture.
All right.
And you're done.
And you
Okay, then put it in
bag.
the biohazard bag.
Boom.
All
Easy
right.
money.
Okay. Yep, and then wrap it up.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, just that simple.
That's it.
And then put it in this, right?
You can put it in that or put it directly in the envelope. It doesn't matter.
Got it. And it just comes with its own little label.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So, and then how long does it take to get the results back?
2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then what'll happen, you'll log into your own portal. Everything is HIPAA compliant and it's all de-identified.
Okay.
So as soon as you register, and we'll register you with that number, you will then ship. If you ship your sample right now to the lab,
Yeah.
we all know they belongs to you because you didn't register.
Okay.
But we'll register you because it's all de-identified. You'll be issued a number, so we own, and that number will refer to you.
Okay, there we go. And I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Easy money.
All right, easy money. My and I'm going to share the results with you guys as soon as I get them, and see what's going on. Yeah.
Okay, well, how about we talk a little bit about my results after a smoke break? Though?
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right here on the Lasagna Ganja podcast. It's the Lasagna Ganja podcast. I am Mr. X to the Z Exhibit.
And I'm Tammy, aka the Cannabis Cutie.
Yes, we are having a wonderful conversation about endocannabinoid health.
Yes.
Brother Len is here with us. It is amazing to hear all of the developments that you have going on with endocannabinoid health. I just took my tests. I'm going to figure out what my results are in what, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
And we will see if I've been doing the right thing or the wrong thing.
Well, I
with
have
my
results.
cannabis use.
I have mine right here. I
Okay.
have anxiety reports, cognitive function and behavior, digestive, drug dependence reports, fitness reports. Okay, let's go with drug dependence reports. Okay, so it says alcohol dependence, that I have a variant detected.
Mhm.
So that means that I'm genetically susceptible to potentially suffer from alcoholism or be an alcoholic.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is absolutely true. It runs in my family and it's part of why I don't drink.
Yeah.
So I stay away from
What
it.
about opioids?
Cocaine dependence, no variant detected.
Oh,
Agree.
yeah.
Hard time.
Agree. I have never ever
I'll
really
tell
been
you some.
interested in.
Oh, oops. I mean, I will not sell you any. Jesus.
No variant detected for opioids. Highly agree. I had ACL surgery and I took the Lortab for like a day or two, and I was like, I am so good on that. I would rather be in pain than feel like that.
Yeah. So pain management specialists use this to show their patients they may have a predisposition to opioid dependence.
Okay.
And then they may recommend something else. So
Okay.
actually doctors change protocols because of that. This 1 in 4 people has a dependence gene.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons why we have this opioid epidemic.
Mm.
So if you already know this about yourself, why wouldn't every doctor look at your genetic predisposition before they prescribe you an
Right.
opioid and look at, phytocannabinoids as an alternative to that?
I agree, because opioid dependence is a huge issue. I was just watching that Netflix series about the Purdue Pharma case, Addicted, I believe it's called. Pretty crazy. And then psychostimulant dependence, no variant detected, also agree. But if there was weed on here, I wonder what it would say.
Well,
For people who, as we're talking about opioids and different things that people may take in place of cannabis, there's people that do not consume, and there's people that have interest in consuming but are afraid of the adverse reaction that they may or may not receive by consuming cannabis. So with this test, is that a way for people to find out beforehand what's right for them?
Yeah, that's exactly what the goal of the test is, to show people where the potholes are in their own personal road. So I would say most of the people who use our test, they either had an adverse experience with cannabis before, there may have a a disease or a condition that they want to address.
Or been told that it's the devil.
Yeah, devil's lettuce. I get that all the time. Let's talk about this example. We had a woman, I'll call her Grandma Mary, and she was sitting in an assisted living facility, and she's got diagnosed with cancer. And she was watching a show with Dr. Sanjay Gupta about, cannabis, weed. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, I'm going to try cannabis because she was getting really adverse effects from her chemo.
Okay.
And she went to a dispensary, and she told the bartender there that she tried it in school, or 50 years ago. She tried it and she didn't really like it. Okay, but 50 years ago, it wasn't the same. Yeah, all right. So he said, take some gummies, and said, don't take too many. Take one, maybe see how you feel, and then take another. And she had, first of all, she had stress, anxiety, but then she had a psychotic episode. She actually was high for 2 days. Then she would tell everybody, stay away from devil's lettuce. But when we did her DNA test, we could see that she was predisposed to all those things, and she needed a more balanced ratio of cannabinoids. So CBD and THC, like more of a 1-to-1, different terpene profile. In the middle of her chemo, she would give her business card out to people because she became such a fan. So shifting that makes all the difference in the world. And if people have, look, some people want to sleep better, okay? And some THC, a lot of THC actually does the opposite for a lot of people. It creates an active brain. So you may pass out, but your brain is still active and you're not getting the restful sleep. So maybe you need less THC, different terpene profile, myrcene instead of limonene, etc. And then people that have pain, well, okay, you can take a lot of analgesics like THC and it'll block the pain, but what are you doing to the root cause of it? Because the CBD will help to reduce the inflammation and maybe causing the pain. So this is where you really need to look at what therapeutic ratio is right for you. And we also have care counselors. So one of the things we do is every single person who takes the DNA test can speak to a care counselor, and we'll explain the results of the test to them. And if they have a condition, they can speak to a healthcare professional through telehealth, like a doctor as well.
Yeah, I think, with the reason why something like this existing is amazing is because a lot of people assume that cannabis is like alcohol. Like, I'm just gonna be high. And one of the things when we do like mushrooms or some kind of like psychedelic, we know to have a proper intention setting. We know to make sure that we're in a space that we're comfortable in, that we're around people that we're comfortable being around so that we can have a good outcome. And not a lot of people do that with their cannabis. And then some people are going straight to the Everclear version of cannabis before they even had a wine cooler. It's like, wait a minute, like 10 milligrams for somebody who has never done cannabis is it might as well be 100 because they're going to feel absolutely horrible if they're really sensitive to THC. So that's really dope that something like this exists, because I feel like, unfortunately, until we can get medical professionals to actually give advice on this, you're gonna have young people at dispensaries that are just there so they can have a job. Not everyone is passionate about being here, and this is where we're like a big issue in the cannabis industry. So
before you go for the Everclear, get that White Claw.
Man, what?
Don't come around here with your White Claw
when they
tolerance.
Say, if you're new to weed, go for the mids. I'm telling you, go for the mids. Maybe for the connoisseur, we don't necessarily want those, but those are absolutely great entry-level products that are going to be much safer than going for like, the heady stuff, the really like high, terpene, THC percentage, top shelf
6-ounce dabs.
Yeah, like stay away from that stuff.
With a blowtorch.
When I took my first dab hit ever, and I've been consuming since I was like 14. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like getting hit with a ton of bricks.
It hit me right away. And I was like, wait, this is only weed. I'll be okay. But I can imagine for some people,
it's intense.
It can be an intense experience.
Yeah. And then also, like, I stress this so much on my platform. If you're new to cannabis, you need to get a journal like you are a doctor. You need to smell what you're putting in your body, write down the strain name, where you bought it, what date it was harvested. Did you like how it smelled? How did you feel before? How did you feel during? How did you feel after? that is how you will figure out what you like and what you do not like. I promise you it works. It's how I got off the citrus and stopped having bad reactions to my weed. And now it's just a happy go time, like a happy go lucky time for me always, because I know what I like.
And you took an EndoDNA test too.
And I did take the DNA test. I was one of the early people who took it. So I took it back in like 2018. Yeah. So it was very, very new. And I hadn't looked at it in a while. I think I tried to find the website, and I think it changed from 2018 to now. So I couldn't figure it out. And then today I'm like, oh yeah, here it is. So it's nice to look back on that too and absolutely go even deeper.
And you brought up, both of you brought up an interesting point. So I was at a 420 event, and there was all these young kids there, and I was talking about what we do. And they're like, man, we don't need that. We shatter. We dab all day long. We don't need that stuff. We're good. Okay. So this one girl comes over. I'm like, yeah, what about edibles? She goes, oh no, I can't. I'm like, wait, you dab all day, but you can't do, no, I can't do edibles. And then I had a crowd around me that everything changed because those people, different method of consumption means a lot. If you're smoking, you're consuming Delta 9 THC, converts to anandamide. But if you're actually eating it, it goes to your liver, converts to, converts to a metabolite, which is 11-oxyhydroxide, Delta 9, then goes back and binds to a different substance. And if you're prone to those adverse effects, it can trigger those adverse effects differently.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you smoke a lot. Why can't you do a lot of edibles? And you're right, because the liver is not playing in any kind of process with my inhalation, but it is when I eat. And I must be a really good metabolizer because I am getting everything. Like I am getting the max that it can go. I am a cheap date when it comes to edibles.
Man, well, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me because I need to take tremendous amounts of edibles to have like a great time.
I mean,
like,
doesn't mean
when
anything.
I have a strong edible, it's like, oh, I'm having a good time. Like, oh, this is good.
But also, you've been consuming for a long time, so your receptors are super bound, right? So you could be a fast metabolizer, all those things of cannabis, but also if you take a break, your receptors reset themselves, and you can,
No, my shit is like
save some money.
My shit is like X-Men level.
Oh no, honestly,
you know what I'm saying? Like mutant, like Professor X. Like
I don't know. Try a 72-hour tolerance break.
Okay.
That 73rd hour, when you come back, only smoke to the minimum amount you need to get high, then stop, and then next day smoke like you normally do. But I promise you, your tolerance is going to be so different just in those 3 days.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah,
I'll try that. I mean, but I don't know if I can make the whole 72. I might, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like people like us, we've got to stay in shape.
No, but let me, disclaimer. I've done like 8 months of not smoking.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've really like cleared my calendar and hadn't smoked, didn't drink, I'm just really focused on. So I know how to lock in. It's just, I don't know. I just haven't felt the need of doing that for a while.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I feel like when I know I'm going through stressful stuff, like in this last 3-4 years have been pretty stressful, dealing with a divorce, dealing with, a lot of other, issues and just personal stuff that I really like, I know that I'm not on any other medications. I'm not, but cannabis is kind of like the, even the alcohol, I chill out on that, you know what I'm saying? But I was self-medicating. But the cannabis, I think if I take a break from that, I'm going to fucking kill somebody. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so we're not doing that.
Yeah. Even 72 hours, you can do it.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
So what I do is,
you know what I'm saying? But I could do 72 hours.
8 months is what I did that too, twice in my life. That's the longest I went.
I have done 9 months twice.
Yeah, but you're having a baby.
You know what?
We're talking about free will here. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like you were on a mission. Like we're just doing this like brain power, man.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You gave it away with the 9 months. You should have.
It's actually 10 months.
I mean.
That's true.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I think that this is something that could revolutionize the industry as long as, the right people use it properly. I know we see cool things like 23andMe and then, we don't know what's going to happen with that now. It's so scary, but I at least know you, and I trust that you would not sell my DNA to like robots or whatever.
Please don't clone me.
So I just want to say that, and this is really important about the DNA thing. We didn't register you. So you have DNA. Once you register, you have a number that's associated with you.
Yeah.
We are looking for as many DNA samples as we can. And we will have data, but we don't care about X's like personal information.
Right.
We care as 1,000 people that have a similar genetic profile that have taken a protocol and showed that it was efficacious, that it worked for them, right? So that way, machine learning, AI can start making predictions. So you know what? You coming in, you're similar to all these people over here. And what that does, it creates what's called a polygenic risk score. A polygenic risk score is those hundreds of thousands of people that are similar to you, because here's the concept. So it's like sort of revolutionary 5-star reviews. I was getting ski pants. So I'm 5'8", about 170, whatever. And I have my friend's about 6'1", 6'2", really skinny. We both wear medium. So we bought ski pants. Mine were too long. His were too short. But they were both medium. So how do we know it's not one size fits all? It's being as precise, specific as possible. So we need that information, but it's not your personal information. So we may sell data, but it's not going to be your personal data. It's for, companies that want to make specific precision medicine.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. And so I think this makes it accessible for people who are, I just think like globally, for if we all had to get ready for something that was of this magnitude, people who have never consumed before, but are taking it serious and looking for alternative medicines outside of opioids, would be able to use this and come into it comfortably. And I think that's the one more feather in the cap of cannabis and the ingenuity that the people who are behind the plant are now putting to the public. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. I'll give you one more example. So we're a global company. We have a partner in Brazil. The entire test is translated in Portuguese, but the way Brazil works is they write a prescription for cannabis. They give our DNA test to find out what they should take. We ship the actual products from the US to Brazil to the patient. In order for them to get a prescription next month, they have to get feedback on how that product worked for them. So we're collecting all this efficacy data that's coming from all over the world.
Wait. You send marijuana to Brazil?
But we send a cannabinoid ratio, what's legal in that country. So it's a 0.3% THC and CBD tincture.
Let me make that for you, boy. What? Come on now.
Brazil, Mexico, the UK, Australia. Yeah.
I'll make that for you, no problem, man. What the fuck? I'll beat whatever you guys are getting right now. I'll beat it. That's right. Fuck yeah. See? Connected.
That's right. Partnerships happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's very interesting. We'll talk off air about that.
There you go. But the future of our company. So right now we're looking at endocannabinoid system. The next is your entire genome. So right now we have reports on vitamin nutrient deficiencies, skin. So what kind of topical to use based on your skin conditions. We have women's health. So we partner with Dr. Jennifer Berman, who's a women's health sex expert, and she is asked us to make a women's health test to look at perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and what the predispositions for women are there. So we have that one. We have a men's health test that's out now, and a mental health test. So for predispositions, you were mentioning mushrooms, as we're moving to first treatment-resistant depression, and are looking at psychedelics. So we have ibogaine, we have LSD, we have psilocybin, ketamine, and MDMA. And so these are the future tests that are coming out.
Okay. So the women test is smart because receptor sites on the uterus is pretty abundant. It's like the most abundant or most concentrated place on a woman's body of CB1 receptors, which is the receptor that's going to bind to our favorite cannabinoid, THC or anandamide. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Because I feel like that's an organ that doctors just cannot, for the life of them, figure it out. It's like, it hurts. Oh, okay, where? Why? I don't know how to get it to stop. Try this.
That's the future. It's I want to go to a healthcare professional that deals with me specifically based on my own body chemistry. And the other part we're going to do is biological age. Mm-hmm. So we talk about genetic predisposition, but what about how do we know that it's actually working? So the thing we're going to have is your biological age. Mm-hmm. So there is a chronological age, then there's a biological age. Mm-hmm. How are you on the inside?
Yeah.
And so I'm 51, my biological age is 47. What do I do to get my biological age down to 40? Mm-hmm. So I have a protocol, and in 6 months, I can swab myself again and see if my biological age has been reduced.
Oh, I'm scared to see that.
My scale has like a metabolic age.
There you go.
I'm 2 years younger than my age.
There you go.
Mine is gonna read like a speed gauge, like an odometer.
No.
Jesus.
No, we're gonna roll that shit back.
120.
We're gonna roll that shit back, man. We're gonna roll that shit back.
140.
Well, you've already started the journey. You've started the journey getting cracked by the chiropractor.
Yeah, I made a few. Look, I know myself. Mm-hmm. I know I have to take small steps at a time, and then I go into a crawl, to a run, to a sprint,
to a for real run.
Yeah, for real run.
Right.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But yes, I think I'm warming up to all of these things, but I had to do like an equipment check first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
I mean, I had to make sure I wasn't going to blow a tire. You know what I'm saying?
That's what happened to me. I blew one.
Blow a tire, the gasket pop up here.
Spark plugs.
Yeah, spark plug. All my shit is firing. My doctors were quite surprised. We were both having a great laugh about it. It was like, Jesus, I'm shocked. Yeah, me too. Like, shit, man. But all jokes aside, man, I feel really good about the direction with this and another part of this because I do everything in balance, right? Yeah. I'm finding everything in balance. Like I wrote a not to get all, different on you, but I wrote a tweet the other day that said, I've been fighting all my life fighting all my life for peace in life. And then I said, and I'm just now realizing all I had to be is peaceful. And so that's something that I really felt like it was an epiphany for me. Like, I can't wait for these things to like get better before I start treating myself better. So this is something that I've been kind of doing mentally before I get back into just jumping into the gym and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to be a self-motivator. I know I need to be motivated by others, but I motivate on my own time. But when I go, I go. So I'm going, guys. I'm going.
Yeah.
You got to pick what connects with you. So for me, I love to hike. It's not even the physical aspect of it is great, but it's the mental one. Like I escape from everything and I'm in nature. And as I'm hiking, I'm not thinking, but information is flowing. So I get all my best ideas. I have my phone afterwards. I'm like, oh shit, I thought of this, I thought of that. When I'm not trying to force think through that. So when you find what connects with you, that's a perfect.
Yeah, I like to punch stuff. So
there you go.
Yeah, I like to go hit. I like to hit.
Bag,
I like to hit. I like to hit. I don't like the punching bag as much as I do the mitts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pads.
Yeah. Like so. Yeah, I like the pads a lot better. But I like that
spar and stuff.
Yeah. I don't like to get hit in the face. I like the punches
like working with
to go out, but I don't want to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
drilling.
Yeah.
Drills. I got you.
Oh, yeah.
I like to hit tennis balls.
Yeah.
That's fun to hit. Getting your aggression out. Oh my gosh.
Have you tried pickleball?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I won a pickleball tournament in West Hollywood. No, I came in second place. Second place. I lost. I did not. I won in my mind because it was my first pickleball tournament.
What the fuck is pickleball?
It is life-size ping pong and like fusion with tennis. So you're using like an oversized ping pong paddle and a wiffle ball.
Is it like tennis or are you on a table?
Yeah, it's like tennis. It's on a court. So it's,
oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like tennis. Okay. And the wiffle ball, you can play like tennis, you can't just pick up a racket and play. Okay. It takes time to get there. With pickle, you can play immediately.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great way to run and get like cardiovascular exercise.
My friend's an orthopedic surgeon said that he's never seen this many old people with injuries from pickleball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shout
Yeah, no, you will get injured playing pickle.
Shout out orthopedics. I heard that. Shout out orthopedics.
Yeah,
I definitely.
exactly.
My thumb still hurts from like
Really?
well over a year ago from playing pickle.
So what is it? Like, it's an oversized paddle. Like,
No,
how
it's
big?
like probably double the size of like a ping pong paddle.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so not too big.
So how you gonna injure yourself? Now you got me worried here.
Because
It's overly
like,
competitive.
because you have 70-year-old people who are playing and they thought they can
oh
just
no,
come out and
20
play.
something, 30. We're all getting hurt out there. You think you are a professional tennis player? You're winding up. It's a wiffle ball.
Yeah, so you can smack the shit
You
out of
can
it.
smack it so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, and it's still gonna slow down a little bit.
Yes,
so you can hit it.
exactly.
All right,
It's
cool.
so
All
much
right.
fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get some pickleball playing
Let's
going on
go.
around
We
here.
pickleball league.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, hey man, Len, thank you for coming and blessing us today. Looking forward to getting my test results for my EndoCannabis Health DNA swab to find out what I need to be doing with my cannabinoid system.
There you go.
There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
I'll go over your results.
How do they find it? How do they get in touch with you?
So you can go to endodna.com, ENDO-DNA, and I'm all over social, Len May DNA on Instagram. So reach out.
Very good. And yes, so we're going to figure out exactly what that is with my test. I know you got your results already.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what mine comes back as. But thank you for coming with us today and talking about the EndoDNA test, the EndoCannabis Health. Hopefully, a lot of people can hear about this, get in touch with you or get their hands on a test and have a safe journey into cannabis.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
For sure.
All right. It's the Lasagna Ganja podcast. I am Mr. X to the Z Exhibit.
And I'm Tammy, aka the Cannabis Cutie.
Yes, and we have a lot in store for you coming up. Stay tuned.
All right. Check out the Lasagna Ganja podcast wherever podcasts are streamed.
And check out our separate feed with video episodes.
Available on Spotify and YouTube.
For more information, visit dcpofficial.com.